The world had changed in ways humanity could never have imagined. Interstellar travel had become a reality, and with it, humans had begun to explore distant planets, encountering life forms that defied imagination. Most of these encounters were fleeting, brief exchanges that scientists recorded for study. But sometimes, fate threw you into a situation so intense that you couldn't just observe. You had to survive. I was Lieutenant Aaron Whitman, part of a small exploratory team sent to the uncharted exoplanet Virelia 3, a world cloaked in misty blue forests and glowing vegetation. We had detected signals of intelligent life on its surface, so the United Earth Coalition dispatched our team for a reconnaissance mission. Everything seemed routine at first, collecting soil samples, cataloging flora and fauna, and sending regular reports back to the fleet. It all changed one morning when a violent tremor shook our camp. The ground cracked beneath me, sending me tumbling into a cavern-like crevice. Darkness enveloped me, and when I finally regained consciousness, my head was pounding, my vision blurred, and pain shot through my right arm. I tried to move, but a strange numbness kept me pinned to the cold stone floor. Then I saw her. She hovered over me, her form partially illuminated by bioluminescent fungi that clung to the cavern walls. Her skin shimmered like liquid silver, and her eyes were a mesmerizing shade of violet, deep and endless. Four slender arms extended gracefully, each holding instruments that I couldn't even identify. Her voice was musical, almost vibrating in the air, and she spoke in a language I didn't understand, but somehow I knew she was asking if I was in pain. Fear surged through me. My training kicked in, but my body betrayed me. I could barely lift my head. She didn't seem hostile. Instead, she touched my arm gently with one appendage, and the pain dulled instantly. I felt an odd warmth spread through me, like a foreign comfort. "You can understand me?" I croaked. Her eyes blinked slowly, tilting slightly. She didn't respond in words, but a soft hum resonated in my mind. Then came the translation. "Yes, you are injured. I will help you." Her name, I later learned, was Ilyara. She was a nurse or healer of her kind. And somehow, she had found me in this cavern, tending to me before I had even asked. The first days were disorienting. I couldn't stand or walk without assistance. Ilyara's methods were unlike anything I'd seen in human medicine. She applied glowing gels that adhered to my wounds, and the pain seemed to dissipate almost instantly. Her touch was precise, almost delicate, but there was an underlying power to it that reminded me that she wasn't entirely fragile. But what unnerved me most wasn't her medical skill. It was the way she moved, the way she observed me with those violet eyes. She was beautiful, unlike anything I'd ever seen. Her form seemed to flow like water, elegant yet unearthly, and I found myself staring at her despite knowing it was unprofessional, or rather, completely irrelevant in my current state of vulnerability. Then one day, while she was adjusting a delicate band around my shoulder, I said it without thinking. "You're beautiful." I shouldn't have. I barely knew her, and yet, the words slipped out. My face flushed, though she probably wouldn't understand what embarrassment was. Her hands froze for a moment, hovering above my arm. Her eyes widened ever so slightly, and she tilted her head, a gesture that, from the subtle curvature of her expression, I guessed was curiosity. Then something unexpected happened. She smiled. Not a polite, human smile, but a genuine, almost shy display of emotion. And then, with a flicker of violet light along her skin, she spoke. "I do not know what beautiful means, but your words, they resonate with me." It was the first time I realized that despite her alien physiology, there was a depth of consciousness here that transcended biology. She understood emotions in ways we never could have measured. From that moment, everything changed. Ilyara's care became more attentive, more personal. She would linger longer when tending to my wounds, and I noticed subtle gestures. Her eyes tracking my breathing, her touch lingering over a bruise just a second longer than necessary. It was intimate and yet completely foreign. Over the next 2 weeks, we developed a strange routine. I was confined to the cavern, and she refused to leave my side. We communicated mostly through gestures and the translation of thoughts she projected, but slowly, a connection formed. I learned about her world, how Virelia 3's inhabitants had evolved with empathy as their greatest strength, able to sense the needs of others without verbal communication. She shared memories, flashes of violet skies and fields of luminous plants. I shared my own memories, the smell of rain on earth, the taste of coffee, the hum of a city at night. One night, while I was resting, I felt her presence hover near the entrance of the cavern. The glow of her body cast elongated shadows across the walls. I looked up at her, exhausted, and whispered, "I never thought I'd meet someone like you." Her violet eyes softened. She reached out one hand and traced my jawline, a gesture that made my chest tighten with an unfamiliar emotion. Then she spoke in her melodic hum, and the translation came to my mind. "I did not expect to find you, Aaron Whitman. But now, I cannot imagine leaving." It hit me then, the gravity of the situation. This was more than care or curiosity. We were forming a bond, a bridge between species that few could even comprehend. But reality was harsh. My team was still out there, searching for me, and eventually, I'd have to leave this cavern and return to human society. And Virelia 3 wasn't a planet that welcomed visitors lightly. Leaving meant exposing her and myself to dangers we hadn't considered. Days later, our precarious peace was shattered. An exploratory drone from our fleet finally located the cavern. Voices echoed as they tried to call me out. Ilyara's body tensed, her skin pulsing with urgency. I realized she had been hiding me, protecting me, and now that safety was gone. "We must leave," I said, though my heart ached at the thought of abandoning her. Her violet eyes met mine. A silent understanding passed between us. She could not leave her planet, and I could not remain. Yet there was something unspoken, an acknowledgement of what we had shared. Before I departed, Ilyara approached me, her 4 arms holding a small crystalline device. "Take this," she said. "It will allow you to remember, to communicate with me when you are apart." I accepted it, feeling the cold yet comforting weight in my hand. Then, almost impulsively, I reached out and brushed her cheek. "Ilyara, I will never forget you. You are more than beautiful. You're extraordinary." For the first time, her form shimmered with an intensity one had never seen. A cascade of violet light flowed over her, enveloping her in brilliance. "And you, Aaron Whitman, are remarkable. Perhaps, in another life, we could exist together." The moment was fleeting. I had to leave. My team guided me out of the cavern, and I cast one last glance at her silhouette, luminous, ethereal, and impossibly alive. I didn't know if I would ever see her again, but something in my chest told me that our connection had altered both our destinies forever. Back on the shuttle, I held the crystalline device tightly. At first, it was inert, but then a soft glow appeared, pulsing in sync with my heartbeat. And then a voice, not translated, not humanoid, but unmistakably hers, filled my mind. "Aaron, do not forget. We are not bound by distance. Our bond transcends worlds." Tears stung my eyes. I realized then that humanity's journey into the stars wasn't just about exploration, it was about connection. The alien nurse had healed more than my body. She had touched my soul. Months passed. I returned to Earth, debriefed my superiors, and continued my life. But every so often, when the night sky stretched endlessly above me, the crystalline device would glow, and her voice would whisper in my mind. And in those moments, I remembered, the universe was vast, but it was not indifferent. Somewhere on Virilia 3, Ilyara watched over her world, and we had formed a bond that no distance, no time, could sever. And I knew that one day, somehow, we would find each other again, because some connections are meant to survive the stars.